Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of What Would It Cost Florida with your host, Niels Decker, and our special guest, Anish Dave, a super inspiring gentleman that I got connected to and Spark we're now working with together, and excited to talk about all the good things that you've been adding to your communities and the value that you guys are adding. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here today, Anish, and what a pleasure and very interesting things that we're going to be diving into, and your history and how that all became about. That I'd love to share that with the audience and the listeners, and let's get into that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Privileged to be part of your group and on this podcast, and excited actually to be here. So
yeah, awesome, man. So cool. And I think for yourself too, now we'll go back to around 2000 broker, but anything else that you'd love to dive into, where you came from, a Floridian or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for me, it's been an interesting trek. Being my background is Indian, and if you guys know any Indian families, their dream is that their son's going to be a doctor. One of the things that kind of happened was when I was about 10 years old, they took blood, and guess who passed out? So mom said, oh, crap, he's not going to be a doctor. So guess what? Went to engineering school, right? If you're a good Indian and you're not going to be a doctor.
Or accounting as well.
Or accounting, right?
Yeah.
I decided to go to engineering school at Rutgers in New Jersey. And I realized I didn't want to be an engineer. And I transferred down, got a finance degree down here in South Florida, University of South Florida in Tampa. And graduated, was clueless, didn't know what to do. So I bartended for a bunch of years until I found myself, right? Thinking it'd be only a year or two, but about 6 years later, I worked in the banking world and finance, and read all the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. I realized my dad's poor dad as a financial analyst, and I was doing a great job of being poor dad. So I said, all right, let me get out of banking, and got my mortgage license, started investing in real estate, and got my real estate license too.
Nice. Awesome. That's, cool. And I think, you were saying it as with comedy, but also very cool to hear your awareness and being present to what was going on, and diving deeper and changing your trajectory, essentially.
Absolutely.
Right? And essentially now creating your shift from finance, the broker, to now the investment side of things, and which has now led to an association, which is really cool to hear. And also that it's one of the few that is actually recognized and acknowledged and licensed. Right?
Absolutely. So, owning a RIA, just so you guys know, a RIA is a Real Estate Investor Association. They're all around the country. One of the things is, as you're mentioning, we are an approved chapter. So what that means for our members or our community, they do background checks, right? And somehow I passed it. Somehow, I don't know who had to pay off. No, I'm kidding.
Whoever's watching, that's what happened here.
And, I got approved. They do background financial checks. And the organization, what I love about, actually being the owner, is the power of community. So we have great vendors for everything you need in real estate finance. Obviously Sparks Financial being part of our organization and supporting is, hey, this is a group you could trust. To get you to that next level. So anything you want to do big things, you need a team. It's impossible to do it by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And so, as that came together and that grew, was that what had that have you stand out, or I love how you mentioned it in the beginning as well, is that some contractors are fully licensed, some are handymans and not licensed. And you guys are that contractor that is fully licensed. How did you set yourself apart from that? How did that grow? Let's start there.
So the interesting thing was, I wanted to learn real estate investing. So I took a course actually with the previous owners. And, before I became part of the group and I actually bought the RIA from my mentors, I realized they weren't approved with National RIA. And I said, that is really strange. There's one organization that approves chapters. Why are we not approved, right? Yeah. If I want to be an electrician, I don't want to be the guy that says, hey, I do some electrical work. Here's the, so as soon as I found out,
wild card.
Exactly, right? You don't want to trust that guy. So what I did was, hey, let's get approved. It took us about 9 months to get approved because, in the world, especially in the real estate world or anything you're doing, you need a standard where it's trusted. And I said, hey, if I'm going to be a professional, we need to have these standards. If I want to work with other people, right? Like imagine, working with you and say, hey, I kind of do some mortgage work. Wait, what do you mean? You kind of do some mortgage work. Well, we have some money. What are you, Niels? Are you a loan shark? I'm confused, on that portion. So that's, once you do that, you meet other individuals like yourself, title companies, brokers that understand the power of community.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome to hear how that came together. And I think from there, exponentially, it just started to grow. And as you said, attracting people that are on that like-minded and where that standard is important that's set and met. And I think, how many members do you guys have now that are part of this?
Yeah, so we have active well over 400 members in our organization, from individual members to vendor partners. We constantly grow. Obviously I'm myself a real estate investor. We have a full coaching program, which is a little unique, where I put up the money and we split profits. So I'm really down and dirty. 2008 and 10, made a lot of money. And then, for you old timers, what happened in 2008, right? There's a little crash. So I really went from millions of dollars, single guy living in Miami Beach, South Beach. It was a little expensive to run me. I had the single guy starter kit. So the Range Rover, the place on the water, and it was expensive to run me. And had millions of dollars of properties. And I kind of joked about it, believe in a higher power. And I said, please, at 40, let me be done. And let me tell you, the big guy upstairs said, yeah, you're done. You're going to lose everything. How about that? So now I make sure when I really put things out in the world, I'm very specific. What I meant was I want to be done working. I still want to own my property. So I wound up losing everything and, rebuilt, right? I didn't want to go back to corporate America. I just, I got one life on that portion and started spending money on coaching. And I'm just a stubborn guy. I always think if that other schmuck could do it, right? I definitely could do it. So
good for you.
That portion. And because of that, that's what excites me about teaching other people and watching other people grow their businesses.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome. And being specific with what you're asked for is definitely, that's interesting and cool. And as well, I think your mentor, you had a huge mentor in your experience throughout that as well. Was this a mentor that came in prior or after?
Yeah. So while it was happening, right, I had a few, and some unfortunately were not so good, right? The ethics were not the same. And, without even, saying it, it's like a money grab. Hey, you pay, good luck. Have a nice life. Luckily, I have actually 3 mentors now, and each of them are great for different things. And the key with mentorship, anyone that does mentoring or coaching, you pay them, listen to them. Right. I always find it I find it comical. You pay someone to learn, and then you're going to do it your own way. So be coachable is number one, and just give up everything, right? Huge. Like they know better. And what you'll find is with any mentor, whether it's business, life, you do the things that they tell you, they're going to even give you more. And it happens quick if you're working with the right people. And acknowledge them, right? Obviously acknowledge the mentors and ask the right questions. So as the mentorship and I started building my business, it's grown, and I've seen some of our students make millions of dollars. Our organization has become powerful, especially here in South Florida. And as we spoke about, now I'm working with the Miami Dolphins Business Combine and PAC, the professional athletic community, where Caleb, who's a phenomenal guy. He worked for the Dolphins for about 13 years and ex-college player. And his passion was, what he saw was for athletes, specifically football players, they made a lot of money, but no one taught them about business.
Yep.
And these are young men, and that's all they've been focusing on. And now they created a community where they're teaching these young men what to do outside of football in a safe zone. And they're bringing experts from different fields. And of course, guess what they're interested in? Real estate and technology.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate. I'm the real estate guy for short-term rentals, wholesaling or rehabbing.
Yeah.
And what I do is not sexy. It just makes money.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to be part of a group that's really, their passion is to do some big things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then really giving back to a community that, it's a different scenario, because sometimes, and I think even in some sports right now, it's becoming such a thing that even prior to entering one step onto the field for NBA, NFL, whatever it might be, that they're getting these huge endorsements, huge bits of money. And if you don't have necessarily, let's say, a family that came back from being financially sound or experienced, it's like that saying, someone that, let's say, call it poor or didn't have a lot of financial means, wins the lottery, typically it's gone in a year, 2, 3. I don't know what those timelines are, but really looking at how can you create a structure for athletes that would need it most, or for those who think they know that they'll have that sorted, and then it can go quick.
I mean, I don't know about you, but if I was 21 or 22 years old and I got $10 million, if I got $1,000 at 22, I couldn't even imagine at 10 million. I'd be a mess.
It's wild.
It's an understatement.
Yeah,
so.
It's wild, and we'd fall into a few starter kits for sure if we had 10 million at 21. So that is definitely it's so cool to hear that, and that initiative. And we've had that conversation with Jonathan Diaz, that's part of our team, ex-MLB player, and to look at ways and how we can contribute to those that are coming up in the sport, and essentially it's almost like a financial literacy / awareness of how to then have that money work for you. Absolutely. Especially because the athlete's lifespan is short. If you're fortunate enough to go the distance past 30, 35, depends on what sport, but definitely that on how much of that how important that is.
Yeah.
So
and unfortunately, like, some of the guys that I met, had quote unquote trusted financial planners.
Yeah.
A couple of them are in jail now, right? So that's the challenge that they run into. Yeah. But having some of that financial literacy, at least have a basic idea versus being blind or asking those questions could help maybe prevent it to an extent. The other cool thing, and you obviously you're talking about Mr. Diaz and what he's doing on the baseball side and the community. What I think is interesting is, talking to these athletes, it's more than money. Like, they really want to help out their communities. I hate to say it, all the negative press that we see on TMZ of, the athletes being this or that, and working with these guys, unbelievably polite.
Yeah.
Just like better students than, most other adults, I should say. Yeah.
Coachable.
Right. And what the funny part is, they have the same fear. So I was laughing with some of these guys, I don't know, 6'8", 350 pounds. Hey, Anish, I'm really scared to make an offer on a house. Yeah. I'm like, every week, Sunday, you get plowed and, car accident every week, and you're worried about putting $1,000 on an offer.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So, like, no matter what you're good at, obviously you're good at finance, Sparks Financial, that's what you guys specialize, but you might have a fear of something else, right? Yeah. I'd have some fear to getting on the football field.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Fear of my life, probably.
When you look at those perspectives, for sure. And it's great. And how you then mentioned as well, you mentioned before how community then rallies to support each other and grow together, and as they do a couple contracts, that will change, right? Yeah. I don't know for us if we get on a couple fields in a couple games if that will change, but definitely for them. So it's so cool to hear that that's happening, and like you said too, the sports mentality of being coachable and how awesome it is working, and many athletes definitely have a sense of being how important that is, and I see it now awesome also how awesome it is that it's transferring over into different industries, and how coaching is becoming very vital and important to bring out the best, and how much that was missing. And I think that's really cool to hear as well.
And the other thing is, the professional sports, it's teamwork.
Yeah.
Right. So having you guys, cover the financials, I don't have to be a financial expert on that. Right. On the mortgages, I could call you up. Hey, is this the right loan? What am I missing?
Yeah.
And having that end of it, you could say, hey, you know what? We have a better product.
Yep. Definitely.
It's going to cost you less in the long run. Yep. It just makes you look smarter, right?
Yep.
If you have the right teammates. So having that community, and that, I know that's what you guys specifically built at Sparks Financial. So I'm happy that you guys are down here in South Florida now.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy to be down here, and obviously not a hard sell, but it goes beyond that. We look back here and see the beautiful weather, the palm trees. Super excited to be here with people that are really treat every day as, let's roll up the sleeve, and we're excited, and we know it's an opportunity to get at it every day. So that energy we've been facing and coming across often, and it's beautiful. So thank you for that. And I want to also, for the listeners that are tuning in, someone that doesn't know anything about that type of association, walk them through that. What does that look like, and what are some things that to consider, or and then later we can get into how they can find you and create membership. But walk someone through that. What you're all about.
So if you're interested in real estate, right, and a lot of people are interested, where in the heck do I go? Right. I could watch 1,000 YouTube videos. They come in real estate and not know anything. So you have to, I know the younger people, I always bust their chops. You actually have to talk to people. You really have to go out there and shake some hands and learn. Right. So you could go to nationalria.org. They have all the approved chapters around the country. So they've gone through the same background that I have on the financial checkup. A lot of them will do in-person meetings. We do them quarterly. Some will do monthly, different events. Go to the event, right? And it's usually a minimal cost if you're not a member, $20 or whatever the cost is. And, first of all, network. You'll see 100, 200 people. Don't be that person that just, it's not a high school dance.
You're in and out.
I'm just going to sit there and go out there and talk to people. And figure out what you like, right? Like real estate is big. Do you want to be an industrial? Do you want to be commercial? Figure out what you like first and then stick to it. Right? You can't be, I always joke about it, Anish, you want to be a doctor? Sure. What kind? Well, I'm not sure. Maybe a cardiologist today, a podiatrist tomorrow, right? On that end of it, you're not going to learn everything. You're going to have a specialty.
And you might not know that right away what that is. So go get off the fence and
you try it, and I'm not saying the one-time try, right? So a lot of times you'll see successful, and I'll talk about investors or anyone in their field, they make it look easy. It's because of all the years behind of the hardship of making mistakes, and hopefully you didn't make as many mistakes. We all do on that portion, and that's what your coach or your mentor, they're there to limit that end of it. I was, you got to get off the sidelines, right? You have to be in it. I just feel like people are always waiting, for someone to get them or choose them. No, it's your world. Go out there, take it.
I love that.
On that portion. So you want to go to the meetings, be around real estate people, right? If if it's some other industry, be around those people, right? Whatever that is that you want to be in, you need to be around them. And then the other key is, to let them be around people that are more successful than you. Right? If you're the most successful person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. At least for now.
100%.
On that. And it's automatic. I have a very good friend that does SEO, search engine optimization. I am surprised how much stuff I know now. It's just being around them and being around the lingo. So
very cool. And so when they're around, they found you, they're at the events. What does that look like? Is there then opportunities that are presented, or is it more the education piece around it?
So depending on the RIA, right, we all run them a little bit differently. There's usually a networking portion. There's usually an educational portion. And you'll actually find other people that are actually doing deals. So if you're looking for real estate deals, it's a good place to, you might say, hey, I want to sell this duplex. oh, no way. What's your numbers, right? We just happen to like, let me look at it. So that's why it's powerful. I'll give you the, right, for every good, there's a little bad. Which you have to be careful if you're newbies, right? I hate to say it. There's some people that will try to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in that situation, even at my meetings, if someone you'll know when something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Go to the leader or whoever's throwing the events and ask them.
Yeah.
It's all, people ask me about you guys. Hey, I know those guys. They're good on that portion because, I don't want to call them bottom feeders, but unfortunately, that's the way the world works. So don't be, I'm not going to say have your guard up.
Yeah.
If it sounds a little bit
questions.
fishy, ask the person that threw the event.
Yeah. Ask them. I agree with that. And as well, by probably running that scenario by them, you'll get another perspective if it was something that was maybe not didn't
kosher.
Fishy. Yeah, kosher. Exactly. And get new perspective and then learn and grow, right? And learn.
Yeah, and be in action, right? Take action. Yeah. The challenge what you don't want is, and I'm going to use the real estate world of these meetings. I've had people literally 7-8 years have been coming to the meetings. Yeah. And I said, hey, did you make an offer on a property? Not yet. I'm still doing research. It's 7 years, right? Wow. You got to get off the sidelines, right? Yeah. You got to get in the game. And if you do it correctly, especially on real estate, you won't lose any money.
Yeah. Yeah. And as well, if you, the long line is always this line for real estate, definitely. Yeah. And I think as well, when we talk about comfort zone for people, especially that first plunge into the water, make it obviously do your due diligence, but at some point, yes, definitely there's that cutoff. Enter and then learn from that. And then if it's minimal or perhaps you made an amazing move and it's awesome, take that and look at where you can copy and paste or not. And as you said, there's obviously a lot of information out there, but with trusted sources through the association, I'm sure you'll meet lots of people that also you can talk to, like you mentioned, go talk, because they might share some stories that didn't work out and that you can avoid, you can learn
Absolutely.
from.
Absolutely. And talk about mentoring and coaching, and maybe you're a little bit older and you got burnt like I did, right? Back in, and you're like, scarred.
Yeah.
So one of the guys in our group, he's a hard money lender. Yeah. He's been in the business, Paul, for, I don't know, like 30 years, 40 years. Yeah. And we're talking about 2008. And I said, what I liked what he said was, if you didn't lose any money, then you weren't investing. Like, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And so I put him on the spot and I said, well, how much money did you lose? And he had that nice big smirk, right? And he goes, $8 million. Right? I wanted to throw up. Yeah. And he goes, well, you're not asking me the follow-up question. Yeah. I didn't even know what to ask because I was so in shock, like $8 million. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. He goes, ask me how much I made 2 years later. And he made close to $11 million.
Yeah. And
right. So like the lesson is, sometimes, if you didn't lose on something in the world, that means, you're not pushing a limit. Yeah. You're playing it really safe. And there's, nothing wrong with playing it ultimately safe. I just don't know where you're going to be on that level. Yeah, definitely. In your life, right?
Totally. And being able to push boundaries and we talk about it as well at our company as well, that, around integrity and being on time or little things like that, or you can definitely play a small game, book one meeting a day and make sure you're there on time. Yeah. But we're up to a big game, and then sometimes things might go off a bit, or you might be a little bit stretched, and then you get to revisit and look at where you can adjust to avoid when you're managing more and growing. So
absolutely.
Playing small is easier, and playing big, it requires that extra character to grow and grow.
I think just playing small, like you're saying, is just boring. Yeah. Right. You got one life is my attitude. What are you going to do with it? Yeah. Right. And I think the biggest thing of whatever you're doing, it should be fun. Yeah. And it's a lot more fun when the people around you are making money. Yeah. So if you were the only one always making money, I'd be like, oh, Niels, it must be nice that, he's doing well. Well, what about me? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I see the culture that you guys have created at Sparks Financial. You want everyone to win.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why what I've noticed is everyone's pretty happy here. So
yeah, definitely.
Guys are doing something right.
Yeah, it's been and being able to collaborate and also with a vision of where we're going, that along the way we know as well that making key relationship and partnerships are going to be what will require to create the growth that we're looking for. So I think that's so key as well to know that, as you said, even within your own company, that your team, if you want to grow, you can take on more and create that extra added value. But as you go, those partnerships are so key, and they're actually very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Knowing that you can say, hey, I'm going to connect you with so-and-so. For me personally, I love it. It's like a living is giving type of thing, that you can share that and add that value is so awesome. So
I don't know if you had a chance to read that book, The Go-Giver.
No, I haven't.
If you had a chance, any of the listeners, fantastic. It's exactly the mantra you're talking about. And building, that's how we met. We have a person in common that spoke very highly of you guys, and we chatted on the phone, and it clicked.
That was a little shout out to Amanda and Michelle. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. So
absolutely,
I'm grateful for that, and it's great. And to add to that is that, and when you talked about in the beginning of the podcast, your standards, when your no's will create a room for the proper yeses, or the higher standard yeses, which is awesome. And so not by accident then that those connections get made. And what I heard as well when we had the conversations on how awesome that is throughout the association, as you said, when people are coming to your meetings, how highly likely you will be having people that you meet that you'll probably have longer relationships with, and an awesome life, and have some fun.
I tell people, even our students, it's the beginning of a lifetime relationship. And imagine that's how every relationship, whether it's your personal or your business, you act that way. It's going to change the way, and then you expect them to do it also. The other big thing is, in real estate or any kind of sales, or you're going to get a lot of no's, right? I always say no for now. Like you might say no. I'm saying no for now. Right. So that's okay on that. So don't take it personal. You always remember the S's. I kind of joke about being married. You're not gonna believe it. When I was single, I got a lot of no's. It's hard to believe, but you always remember the yes, right? So that's the way you should live on your business end of it, especially on the sales side or the real estate. It's okay.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome, man. So cool. And for the listeners, where can people find you?
Absolutely.
Social or website?
So our company's called BPM RIA. So we're out here in Florida. www.bpmria.com is our website. Our social, if you do, obviously our YouTube channel, BPM RIA online, and same thing with our Instagrams, BPM. So
awesome, man. Cool. Absolutely. People check it out. Super awesome association, and super insightful, as we've spoken about. And thank you for listening for another podcast of What Would It Cost Florida. Until the next one.
Thank you.